not doing it with just me and you. We gonna die.
Oh no, not by ourselves. Maybe like we go get Ryan. Brian.
He'll be missed.
All his friends. How is going to date Loyalist Kingdom? My name is Dwayne.
My name's Jasmine.
We're Dwayne and Jazz. Today we have for you 14 more horror stories animated compilation 2016.
Part 5. I didn't think about that. So
five. Yeah, you guys love these, and we love doing them because they are very heart pounding.
That last one, y'all said that Jeff the Killer was in there. I was like, no wonder it was so freaky. Cause he, I didn't like that, and like the dude just like looked at him while he was running. Like, are you stupid? So.
Are you what?
Huh?
Are you what?
Stupid.
Shush. Name is that read into reality.
He's reading a book.
Okay.
I was having a horrifying dream, possibly the most disturbing nightmare of my life. I was in my house, or the closest thing to my house that my dream could produce. Ironically enough, I was in bed in this dream, or at least I can only start remembering past the point of my lying in bed. And all of a sudden, the sound came from downstairs. I walked downstairs in the dark, not turning on any lights, to where I thought the sound was coming from. I was on my middle floor now. The dream was telling me to go downstairs to my laundry room, and so I did. But as I got there, expecting the noise to be louder and closer, it sounded like it was just as far as before. Now I was going upstairs to the kitchen, and it's strange. Outside of every window was complete blackness, not general nighttime darkness. There was nothingness. I think all that existed in this dream was my house.
Oh no.
Now my dream started to suggest that the banging sounds were coming from upstairs, so I went back upstairs, and was eventually led to the attic door. It was surely beyond that door. I opened it. There was an old woman standing by a bunch of boxes. She was slowly but loudly slamming her hand on one of the boxes, producing an unnatural sound. I tried to quietly step back away from the attic, but the old woman turned around, opened her mouth twice as wide as anyone humanly could, reached out her arms, began to scream, and leap toward me.
Whoa!
That's when I woke up. It was just a horrific dream, but when I heard a bang coming from downstairs, a bang similar to what I heard in my dream, I felt my heart completely drop. On my way downstairs, there was another bang. It was the front door. I got the butcher knife from my knife holder in the kitchen and crouched behind the door. I was waiting for the next time he would pound on the door, and I would warn him to go away. I waited for a good minute in silence, and finally decided to take a quick look through the window. There was somebody standing in my driveway. I couldn't tell if he was facing me or looking at me or not, but he was surely the one who was pounding on my door at 4 in the morning. He walked away down the sidewalk moments after he must have noticed me. The pounding on my door was the kind of pounding you would expect from someone trying to break in a door, not to get a house owner's attention. I thought it was just crazy and horrifying that the pounding and banging from this potential robber or killer didn't wake me up. Rather, it became the key point to a horrifying dream.
So that was playing Knock Knock Ditch or something?
No, it's like, if the dream didn't wake her up, then the person might have been able to get in their house.
Oh.
That the knock didn't wake her up, the dream did.
Oh.
I was 19 years old at the time, working at a sketchy motel. The motel was pretty run down, and the majority of people who stayed there were locals that were just doing things they weren't supposed to be doing.
Of course, it's a motel.
Let's just say the cops came by multiple times a week.
Oh my God.
I worked as both a front desk person checking in these creeps all hours of the night, and as a housekeeper who got to clean up their nasty, vomit-smelling rooms afterwards. One afternoon, I was working as a housekeeper in the second building of the motel on the backside furthest from the office. I hated working over there because it not only had the most worn-down rooms, but it was always pretty vacant over there and way too quiet for comfort.
It means somebody just killed you.
I began cleaning one of my last rooms and wanted to get done in a hurry because it was getting late. I was washing the mirror in the room that I was cleaning, and all of a sudden, I saw a man in the reflection staring at me. He was mid-50s, dirty, with long, greasy hair. Startled, I screamed, "Oh my God." I told him he scared me, The room I was currently cleaning was vacant, so there was no reason why this man should have been in there watching me clean. However, we just had a meeting on customer satisfaction, and my boss was really pressuring us to be more polite and help the guests any way we could.
He's not supposed to be there.
Sir? I asked him cautiously. Can I get you anything? Towels? The man just stared back at me with a crooked grin and held out his hands to me. I thought maybe he was handing me a tip for cleaning his room earlier, but when I looked down, I saw he was holding a $100 bill. Alarms started going off in my head. No one tips $100 on a $40 a night room.
Yes.
The man just smiled and said his name was Terry. He said he was staying in the room next door with his wife Sherry and sort of joked about their names rhyming. He smelled like car oil and alcohol. When I asked him why he was trying to hand me $100, he laughed deep in his throat and said, "Me and my wife were watching you, and we just wanted to have fun with you." I felt like my heart jumped into my throat.
That ain't kinky.
No, I can't do that, sir. I'm sorry. I wanted to run out of the room screaming, but he was blocking the door, my only exit. The man smiled again, taking on a softer tone of voice, and invited me to come into his room to meet his wife, just to talk as friends.
No.
I nervously told him no again, and that I had a lot of work to do for the day. I prayed to God he would just go away, and eventually he did. He grunted and walked off in what I assumed to be the direction of his room. My mind began racing. There is no wife, I thought.
God.
This man could try and kidnap me.
Yeah.
I was 110 pounds at the time and not very strong. He could easily overpower me. I locked the room from the inside and went directly to the phone to call my manager at the front desk, but the phone wasn't working. Adrenaline began pumping through my veins, and despite what I was always told not to do, I was panicking.
Damn.
Did he cut the line? No, I thought. This is a crappy motel. It happens all the time. But I just have to get out. I remembered that I had my cell phone out on my housekeeping card, but that was outside the locked door.
Why don't you have it on you?
I'd have to open the door to get it. I cautiously opened the door to the room that I was cleaning and peered out. I didn't see anyone, so I frantically began searching my card for my cell phone.
It's gotta be the best
I was
one.
wasting too much time looking for it, so I just decided to run as fast as I could and make a break for the front desk in the office. Then from behind me, I heard the man again, but this time he was screaming to someone else, "She's running, she's getting away." I could hear his shoes slamming against the pavement.
Probably not his wife.
I quickly turned the corner, grabbed my key card, and let myself into a stockroom and locked the door. Within moments, I heard the sound of the dirty guy and someone else running outside, searching for me. I stayed in that stockroom for 30 minutes shaking until I could no longer hear him searching for me. I finally got the courage to run the rest of the way to the front desk. When I made it there, I collapsed into my boss's arms and he called the police. The man and whoever else was in the room with him peeled out before the cops could arrive, and I was beyond shaken up.
I'm not working there no more.
According to the police who ran the search, this wasn't the first time he had done something like this, and he was actually wanted for sexual assault, gross sexual imposition, and in the past was once charged with rape.
So that's what he was gonna do.
A few weeks later, on what happened to be my birthday, this guy was caught. A few weeks after that, I quit.
Yeah.
Never again work at another motel.
Thank you.
Sheesh.
Oh
man, that's realistic, very realistic stuff.
Yeah, 'cause I'm like, he's paying her $100. I'm like, I was automatically thinking prostitution.
Yeah, I know, right? Scary Ouija board story.
I don't see that. I don't mess with that either.
We've always had one of those old vintage Parker Brother Ouija boards.
You don't go looking for spirits.
Dust.
No.
When I was a kid, I always wondered what it was. From the box, it seemed like a horrible board game. Until one day I found out what a Ouija board really is, and immediately dug it out of the closet. I insisted on my brother trying it out with me, and eventually got him to play along.
You ain't
Put our hands on the planchette, and I began asking the typical cliche questions like, "Is there anybody there?" and "Can you answer me?" Other than my brother jokingly moving the planchette around to imitate an answer
I would say stop playing.
There was no real response.
Mine too.
After getting bored, we put the game back in the box. I did a little research that night to find out how these Ouija boards work. Many people said online that the most ideal environment when using a Ouija board is in a dark room only lit by candles. So when my parents weren't home, I managed to gather like 6 or 7 candles and convinced my brother to try it one more time. I lit the candles and set them around the table in the dining room with all the lights out.
Okay, thank you.
We tried one more time.
More options.
I asked again if there was anybody there. The planchette began to move. I told my brother to stop moving it, but he swore he wasn't. I told him to move his hand away, and he did. It kept moving. My brother thought I was messing with him, but I didn't pay attention. The planchette landed on the word yes. I was only 9, so I was legitimately shitting myself. My older brother had to take over. He asked the question, "Are you a good spirit?" There was a 5-second pause before my brother's hand moved along with the planchette to the word no. We both looked at each other, and at this point, I ran to my room and shut the door behind me.
He just left his brother?
With the so-called game. I heard his muffled voice come from down in the dining room, when all of a sudden I heard him screaming at the top of his lungs. I ran back downstairs to see what was wrong. He was holding up his shirt, revealing a small open wound.
Ooh, it scratched him.
It almost looked like a claw mark. He told me to set the fireplace immediately, and I obeyed. He threw the thing in the fireplace and told me to never speak of what happened to anybody. We have never used a Ouija board since.
You better not. How you gonna leave his brother like that, though?
I don't know,
like, you just got up and ran and just left him.
That was terrible. But anyway, guys. Whew.
I can't, like, when you play with a Ouija board, like, you're asking for somebody to come get you. Like, I don't care if it's a good spirit hanging around here, if it's a bad one, I'm not talking to you, I'm not trying to contact you. Leave me alone. I don't want to,
Yeah, I want to try it, though, Jasmine, with people.
Because when you first said it, I'm like, I'm not doing it with just me and you. We're going to die.
Oh, no, not by ourselves. Maybe, like, go get Ryan.
Ryan. He'll be missed.
All his friends.
He'll be missed.
All his friends, and, you know, so use him as bait.
I say, if you do it, then do it with, like, multiple people. I would say do it with about 5. About 5, so that your chance of dying is 20%.
It's slim, yeah. It's slim down.
Yes, it's slim down. So.
Oh, man, you wrong. But
what? I want to secure my life. That's it. I love them.
Oh, my.
But
anyway, guys, please comment below. Tell us what you think.
Don't forget to like,
subscribe. Just for our guys. Deuces, man.